And welcome back. Doing the announcer voice, leading it in, just like we're on the radio, like on a morning show. I think we need more sound effects, though. Welcome back to the Steam Gentlemen. I wanted to lead in with the cheesiest announcer voice you could ever get because it will relate back to our subject for today. But we wanted to welcome you back to the Steam Tunnels. How you doing today? I need a slide whistle too. I need the clown horn. I need the clown horn. I need the slide whistle. I need a soundboard, man. Build me a soundboard. What are you guys doing over there? Somebody over there, build me a soundboard.
I'm currently over here being horrified. So
that's okay. It's Halloween month. I'm supposed to scare you.
That was terrifying.
We didn't say how we were going to terrify you this month. We had to terrify you some way.
My point last episode was that horror comes at you in a lot of different ways.
Absolutely. Call back. Yeah. Love it. Going back to earlier episodes, without a doubt, though, that, you know, and sometimes it's the things you don't realize that are going to scare you are going to scare you. Like your friend going full cheeseball when he opens up your podcast, which is just one of those things that, you know, as Peter Griffith said, you expect terrible sound quality and lots of ads. So,
by the way, I would like to mention this episode is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts coffee. They don't know that. They don't know that, and I'm not drinking it. But hey, we'll take a shot anyway.
Yeah. Take a shot, and remember, when you're drinking your Angel's Envy bourbon, you can put that in your Dunkin' Donuts coffee. They go together wonderfully. Drink responsibly.
It will definitely make one better than the other. I'm not going to say which one. You figure it out.
You figure it out. That's how you mix it in. But anyway, it is I, Josh, the Birdman, all goofiness aside, and we are back here in the Steam Tunnels on our weekly meeting, here to discuss our nefarious agenda, here to talk about all things going from Pong all the way now to virtual reality. Kids, look up Pong. Just if you want to have some fun, Google Pong and know that
people severely question our skills and questioning and thought process if they see what we were actually playing. They would really have a problem believing or listening to us moving forward. Like, oh, so you invest in your time in this.
We invested our time and it blew our goddamn minds. You had a paddle, you had this little line that went up and down the screen, you had a little dot that moved across the screen, and you tried to bounce it back and forth on your TV. It went on your TV. You could control what went on your TV. This was amazing. So yes, Google Pong, and and just remember that I think Red Dead Redemption is probably a lot better. I think that's fair enough as we move on through. But it is still October, still time to bring the spooky, still time to bring the horror and the fun. And we are absolutely planning to do that. And let me introduce you to our panel here. As always, Three of Clubs, you've chimed in a couple times. Always happy to hear you. Always glad to see you. So excited and just itching to get into the fray. How you doing this morning?
I feel like that was your way of saying, hey, man, shut the fuck up while I'm trying.
Oh, no, never. Absolutely not, man. We love having you here. Come on, man. We love you.
Sorry for not helping you stick the landing there, but
yeah, you know, we all know I can fuck up on my own just fine. I can hit that judge's table coming off there. It's an ugly sight. Plus,
that was a very teacher way of being like, and thank you for all your contributions. We all appreciate. However, we would like to move on with the subject. So, how about you share some contributions on the other subjects? Let us get and let the class share. Let the class what the room does.
Rashawn, that was very nice. Thank you.
Man, I got triggered to elementary school. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay, we'll tell you that. That's all right. That's all right. But it sounds like you're doing well today and still here and on 25.
People,
True horror, without a doubt. Let's face it. I mean, I think grade school through high school epitomizes horror in my life. I hear people who talk about wanting to go back, or wishing they were younger. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
If I didn't make it evident, I had a great time. I'm not sure the people around me did, but I had a great time.
Okay, fair enough. That's at least, there's a way to handle that. And it sounds like you handled it just fine. But Greg DeSense, the Star Child, how we doing over there today?
Feeling good. Ready for our topic. I'm going to defy your earlier advice about whiskey and your coffee. Don't mix your uppers and downers.
What
It's a
fun are
bad
you?
trip. Yeah, don't mix your uppers and downers. And the only thing I would have done differently in high school is not have gone at all.
Fair enough. I think
Yeah,
that's good.
I was
there.
like, why? Yeah, like why did I bother showing up those 2 or 3 times a week? Like I was
Right.
literally, I remember it happened like once. I got out of bed in time for school. Worst decision of my life. I'll never do it again.
The deepest, darkest regret of the Star
Yeah.
Child. Not hitting the snooze bar one more time.
Yeah, I actually showed up for high school from like the beginning of the day. It was like from the first class to the very last class. I stayed there the whole day. I never did it again. It was the worst decision of my life. There was one point in time where, you know, to kind of just like level things out, I'd get out of bed somewhere like, you know, 9:30, and then I would go to school and I would just see who was hanging out. And if nothing was happening at that high school, I'd go to another. And if nothing was happening at that high school, I'd go to another. That was much more helpful, but actually staying the whole day at the school I was enrolled in, bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Tell your kids.
Yes, kids, when you're done Googling Pong, I want you to listen to this episode and think, I can turn out just like them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering, is it better to be the best student in one school or to basically have like a D average unofficially at 4 to 5 schools at the same time? I mean, I almost argue that was way more work than actually just going to one place.
Actually, because I'd go to another, my, you know, friend, got a couple friends that went to a different school, and their teachers liked me. Because I actually, well, yeah, because I was helping.
You're probably like the best student in one of the schools you even go to.
Right, yeah, like it was, and I remember they needed help doing Hamlet, and so I ended up helping them with their version of Hamlet because I had already done Shakespeare at that point. So I was like, yeah, I'll fucking do this all day. She loved me.
Just picturing the school,
Absolutely loved me.
I'm picturing the school paper doing a write-up on it, and a student we have no idea who he is did a wonderful job as Rosencrantz.
Craig, you're literally probably like a ghost story in one of these schools. Like, yeah, so we had this one kid. He was so good at certain things, but he did exist.
Yeah,
he did exist.
I wish to give this student a wonderful 4-star review. I have no idea who he is, nor can I find his transcripts. Just still picturing that.
Which also, by the way, kids, if you want to blow your mind, other than 4 pixels on a screen that blew our mind, also understand that up until about the 2000s, you could do exactly what Greg just said and not have a problem. No one even stopping you while you're just walking into random schools. That was fully true.
Life before the internet and school shootings. Times were good.
Life before mass shootings. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Before 9/11, I would argue.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it kind of all plays into it. But
because up until then, you can run to your airport terminal for like 5 minutes before it was taken off. Like literally run through security, run through everything. Just throw your shit at security, they throw it back. Like, all right, you got it, you'll get it.
Hey, thank God for it, or we wouldn't have the story at DB Cooper. But back to our own little section of pop culture, another place you can Google there, kids. Today we're having fun, and I guess in our own way we're demonstrating this of the trope of the bad student. But we wanted to get into horror movies, and we wanted to get into the tropes because the fact is, it's kind of that, much like the coffee and the whiskey, though, I think Greg should shut his mouth on not mixing, depressants and stimulants, because I don't know how the hell you function without those two things at the same time.
Don't do it, man. That's what got Stevie Ray Vaughan. Don't do it, man.
Stevie Ray Vaughan got by a helicopter.
Now his guts were rotten out because apparently he was mixing like actual cocaine into his coffee every morning.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, don't do that. The helicopter was a blessing. Don't do that. His guts were like ripped apart.
But as much as we can't love our subject of horror, there is no separating. Much like the cocaine and the coffee, however you want to put it, you cannot separate the two. Once you put them together, there is no way in hell you are taking the one out of the other. The fact is, we love watching horror movies, but why do we love watching horror movies? Because of the tropes. We often know what's coming next. Now, it was interesting. I was just reading an article this morning talking about how the adrenaline hit you get, since we're all on the substances today, the adrenaline hit you get when you get scared in a horror movie, you then use serotonin to calm yourself back down. So that's one of the reasons we do it, which is interesting. Something a take I'd never read before. And, this was light science. So, if you feel free to write into me and tell me I'm full of shit, but it made sense when I was reading it in a random article on the internet. But why do we watch it when we know what's coming next, when we even know what the scares are, when we even know what the tropes are? They're so ingrained. We have a word for it. We call it the trope. In a fascinating subject on this, I'll just lead us into this real quick. I was reading yet another random article on pop culture, because as one does, and that the tropes that we've come and know and near and dear, and even ones that I thought were good as a kid growing up. I was shocked, amazed, and fascinated to find out that the creator of one of these tropes, none other than John Carpenter, the man who directed Halloween, the man who started the slasher genre, he did not direct Halloween 2, but he wrote Halloween 2. And he had the idea to make Michael Myers, Jamie Lee Curtis's brother in that film, which is how I grew up with it. That was the lore I grew up with in these initial films. And I didn't even necessarily see it as that bad of a thing at the time. I can, now after years of being a horror movie connoisseur, I can see why he's arrived at the decision he's arrived at. But he hates it. He absolutely hates the monster he created, and hence was giving his full sign off in these legacy sequels to undo that decision, which that's got to be a lot of fun, actually. Just that never happens. What are you talking about? That was a fever dream after the first one. But that still blew me away, that, here you have sort of that big reveal trope being there, and the guy who started the whole thing hates it, right? Reminds me of Henry Ford. He hated the automobile by the end of his life. Crazy, but true. So
probably all what guy in one color. I mean, that's his fucking fault.
There was that.
It all goes back to Oppenheimer.
So true. We hate our own creation. But with that, I want to put it into the leadoff spot here. I want to give Greg DeSense, the star child, his 10 minutes here of fame, and he has a great trope to start us off with, one I'm looking forward to hearing for. So take it away, Greg.
Oh man, I gotta go first. I'll do that. Fuck it. I'm all hopped up at this point.
On stimulants, I might add.
If on
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, on stimulants, absolutely.
Yeah, so throw some depressants in there. You'll be fine.
No, I won't. So okay, if I have time, I'm going to do just like some dishonorable mentions. I hope I don't step on anybody's toes, but I'm going to start first off with rednecks. I'm over it. I don't think, okay, yes, I understand. Usually when you run into these fucked up people, it's usually out in the wilderness, which is, a very foreboding situation for everybody involved. These days in horror movies, you always have to find a way to take out the technology, which is always like, kind of a groan eye roll moment. And actually, that's another trope, because you always have to find a way to get rid of the cell phone or the surveillance cameras or shit like that, or have the car die, of course, because the car always dies or doesn't have gas. And then you run into the rednecks. And my thing is, it's just like, look, man, post-Trump especially, we don't need to know that rednecks are terrifying. And I mean, if you're stuck with anybody, and they have the drop on you,